we are going to do our usual police and sheriff updates. And then we're going to have our two guests from the city speak. And then we'll go into all the ways in which you guys can take part if you want in the holidays. There's a lot of things going on in the next 5 or 6 weeks, lots of opportunities for businesses to participate and promote their goods. So we will tell you all about those opportunities. And if time permits, we can go around and have businesses do any special news that they would like to share with the group. So I'm going to get started. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Lauren Fisher. I am the current president of the Delray Business Association. And we have a few board members on here with us as well. Gail Reuter, Pat Miller, Sue Kowalski. I think we have a few more joining also to provide some updates. So welcome everybody. And let's go ahead with Detective Mike May. Could you go ahead and please give us the updates?
Sure. Let's see, year to date, all incidents in the area are down 16%. For the last 30 days, it's down 3%. Let's see, the fatality pedestrian crash on West Glebe, that's still under investigation from Saturday evening. And then upcoming events for us, we have a lot of Thanksgiving meals that we'll distribute, 46 next week, and then we're also doing Friendsgiving, which is the sheriff's office, police department, and rec department cooking meals and delivering meals and those meat. But yeah, we're going to make it through Thanksgiving and gear up for the holiday season. And I heard someone talk about turkey trot before we began, so we'll all be out there working that. And that's usually the coldest morning of the year, I think.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. But that's all I have. Anyone have any questions?
One thing just to mention regarding the tragic fatality on Glebe, was seeing a lot of, unfortunately, social media saying, you know, that's a dangerous intersection, the city hadn't done anything. And I think it's important to get word out to the public that actually there was a major overhaul after the unfortunate death of Rose, and redid that whole intersection to make it safer. And I think it's just important that people correct those that say the city hasn't done anything in order to try to protect pedestrians. They have. This was a tragic accident, and I think we'll learn more as it comes out. And that it wasn't actually at the intersection, right? Was it in between the block?
Yeah, it was 206, so it wasn't exactly at the intersection. At least that's my understanding.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And hate to also add this, I was very fortunate to have one of your officers come out to take a report. I happened to catch on my camera, I live right next to St. Elmo's, and last Thursday, I actually had somebody come out and was able to watch him open my door, try the handle, push it, and luckily it was locked. But just to get the word out, always make sure you lock your door, because you just don't know who's having to walk through the neighborhood.
Yeah, I talked to Dennis this morning. He mentioned that. And I looked through the calls for service and didn't see any other ones. So now people may not be aware of it. I'm sure that wasn't the only door that person tried. But I didn't see the other calls for service. I did, however, see some computer crimes pop up that I haven't seen in a while. And I guess that's just a reminder with the holiday season, everyone's shopping online. Be careful what you do.
Thank
you. So it just looks like the computer fraud.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right, and then we're going to move on to Sheriff Sean Casey. Congratulations.
Thank you, Lauren. Sheriff-elect. I don't want to steal the sheriff's thunder for his last month and a half in office.
Okay, Sheriff-elect.
But it's all right. No, I appreciate it. Thanks for all the support here in the DRBA. It was excellent. So I definitely appreciate it. Excited to take on this new role coming up soon. So a lot of you already know me, I don't know who has not or hasn't heard my spiel about the sheriff's office, but we run the jail, courthouse, and serve civil process. We help the police department out when we can, when able to, with things out in the street, you know, like calls for service and traffic stops and things like that. You will see us at events regularly. We do help with things like the turkey trot, the Halloween parade. So big special events like that, we're always there, willing to pitch in and help out and make sure everybody is safe. That's the key. So as far as in sheriff's office news, we had a very successful drug take back this past in October on the 23rd. We collected 351 pounds of drugs. So thanks everybody that participated with that. That's when you get rid of your unwanted prescription medications, over-the-counter medications at a safe drop-off location. You all have a neighborhood pharmacy that always has a drop-off location there. So please always dispose of your unwanted medicines there if you can. I'm not sure if we mentioned this the last time around, but we did pass our state inspection. We were 100% in compliance. And that was great. I have to give kudos to Gail, who was leading the charge on our inspection and compliance report by the state. So good job, Gail. So appreciate your help with that. And I think, are the blankets still up, Gail, in the neighborhood?
We got them down in St. Elmo's because it was through October, and they are still hanging up in the old Being Creative windows. But the owner, who was kind enough to let us hang them there, said that he'd get them down to return them to us. So they may be up, but they're looking to come down any day.
All right. Well, our inmates from our Ladies Education Development Program crocheted those blankets, and they did a great job. So thanks for displaying them. I appreciate it, and we appreciate it. So on that note, we will be out for the turkey trot. Like I said, you will see us out there. And Operation Elf, I think you all have probably gotten the flyer, but it's a great program if you're looking to donate during the holiday season to hear the inmates at the detention center. Speak of the actual sheriff, there he is. There he is.
Warming up for the turkey trot.
He'll do a good 100 yards.
How about 100 feet? I'll disrupt it.
You never know who you might run into here at the sheriff's office.
All right. Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome. Well, yeah, if you have any questions about Operation Elf, please let me know. But thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. So I'm going to switch up the order and have Diane speak first because I'm seeing there's some restaurant people that didn't get the link. So I just want to make sure everyone's on for Anne's speech. Okay. So I'd like to introduce you, Diane Ruggiero from the city, to talk about the Torpedo Factory.
Hey, everybody. Is it possible for me to share my screen so I have a quick, so what I was asked to do is to kind of give everybody a quick update on where we are with the scenarios for the Torpedo Factory Art Center. So I'm going to give you the extremely abbreviated version of the presentation, but share with you where you can go watch the fuller version of it.
That'd be great.
And I still can't share. It says host disabled.
Maureen, are you able to add Diane as a host?
Sorry. All right, well, if not,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. I'll just give a quick verbal version then. And again, direct to where y'all can watch the presentations. So just kind of, going back in time a little bit, City Council has asked staff to come forward with different scenarios for them to consider regarding the future operations of the Torpedo Factory Art Center. So what we are developing, what we are presenting in December are 3 different scenarios. The screen share should be working. So the first scenario, there it is what we're calling incremental revitalization, which is essentially, the status quo. So the idea is that nothing much would change. I'm going to sit here and try and share my screen. So the idea is that nothing much with the incremental revitalization would change. A lot of the things would stay the same. if the city got capital money over time, we would invest it, in making some of the proposed changes from the action plan. The custom program is looking at that action plan that City Council received earlier this year. And the idea is kind of putting those ideas forward, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. And then the third option is a ground lease, where the city would issue essentially an RFP for an outside entity to come in. That outside entity would run the art center. They would make all the capital improvements associated with the art center and all of that. So what I'm going to share with you today is the custom program, because that's the one that the city would operate and pay for. So just a couple of things to consider. Everybody for years, at least for the years that I've been involved with the art center, everybody's always talked about putting something on the roof, the roof. It's this great asset. And it is a beautiful space, one of a kind views on the waterfront. So with the efforts for the scenarios, what we did was a rooftop assessment along with the facility assessment. And what we found out, there's a lot going on this page, I know, but what we found out is essentially the building as it currently stands is at capacity. So the ability to put something on the roof is not as easy as we might have hoped or had thought it would be. With money, all things are possible, but what it would require would be a complete removal of the ground floor, like essentially of the bottom of the building, and replacing the pilings that are underneath the building, along with inserting a full metal grid, and then the replacement of the entire floor of the art center. So a much more expensive and extensive undertaking than anybody had initially thought. So that kind of drove some of the decisions you'll see in the custom program. So looking at the custom program, and again, I refer back to the action plan. So the ground floor, I'm losing there we go, got a little bit of a lag there. So looking at the ground floor of the building, the ground floor becomes a super active hub of the art center. So introducing new artists and new art forms to the building with a glass blowing studio, a demonstration space, and a tech worker shop. These are, kind of like some of the messier arts, but again, introducing some of those new artists and art forms that we don't currently see, like the glass blowing and the, potential wood makers, more metalsmiths and things like that. But because of the rooftop situation and looking for a place to put a market rate tenant, because right now everybody pays below market rate at the art center. So looking for some of those market rate opportunities to help, continue with those below market rates, the restaurant has now been placed on the ground floor. And with that, it's on the east side of the building. And what this scenario proposes is that the east side of the building on that first floor would be converted to glass. So instead of the big concrete wall that's out there. So that's some of the changes to the first floor, but again, creating a real dynamic space for folks, more of a hands-on experience for folks to experience, and some new art forms to the art center. The second floor would be converted to almost all individual artist retail studios. So that's kind of what you see here. The purple spaces are kind of what we're calling like those first impression spaces when you come up the stairs or get off the elevators. And so those will largely kind of function almost like public art spaces with rotating murals and other different types of temporary public art in those spaces. But again, largely studios on the second floor. And the third floor, archaeology is currently on the third floor. So that's where they would remain. And the idea is that the Art League would move from the second floor up to the third floor with their classrooms, gallery, and office space to be up there. You'll also note that up here, we've got some event space. We're in the process now of converting a former studio space into a private event rental space so that we have the opportunity to bring in private rentals during normal business operating hours of the art center. Right now, we do private event rentals, but the only way to access the facility is when it's closed to the public, and everything happens on that first floor in that grand hall space downstairs. So a portion of this area is currently being converted into event space, and the idea is that would expand. And again, if the rooftop, so here's the rooftop, if the rooftop were to be something that could move forward, that would change a lot of, what we've put in this scenario. So things like the restaurant would most likely move to the fourth floor or to the rooftop. The event space could eventually move up there, but we are now kind of putting the rooftop into an optional category and not something that we expect to necessarily see going forward. So that is my super shortened version of the presentation that I've been given. If you go on the Torpedo Factory website, torpedofactory.org, under the About Us tab, you'll see the revitalization for the Art Center, like a little category there. And there you can see all of the presentations that we've made to the various commissions as well as to the artists. So it's about a 15-minute long presentation that goes into a little bit more detail than what I just did. But that just gives you a general idea of the scenarios that we're putting together. The phase that we're working on now is trying to figure out how much all of this is going to cost, so that as council works to make their decision, they're making as an informed decision as they possibly can. So Smith Group helped develop that information that I just presented, and we're working with a different consulting firm, JLL, to put together the budget numbers and things like that. So we'll have some presentations going out to some of the commissions this week, and then we're expecting the final round of numbers and things like that to come out just after Thanksgiving, while we get ready to go to council on December 14th. So that's my very quick presentation. So, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Yes, thank you for sharing all of that. Who has questions? Jen.
Right. So Diane, how many artist spaces do we think we would lose with this renovation or the?
Oh, Jen, you're muted.
That's one way to keep me quiet.
So we're expecting, believe it or not, the artist spaces to remain about the same, because like I said, the addition of an art studio, the addition of the tech maker space and things like that is really inviting new artists into the building, artists who don't currently have space in the building. So in a lot of ways, we're expecting the artist spaces to remain close to being the same. The difference is being made up in other types of spaces, like some of our programming spaces and things like that will be giving up going, in that scenario. And again, these are scenarios, these are not plans. So these are not done deals. If for any of these scenarios, if city council were to pick one, then the planning initiatives would start. So these are scenarios so that we can put some numbers together and give council an idea of how much things would cost. So, but the other thing too is we have studios right now that range in size from about 150 square feet to about 1,800 square feet. So the number of studios could actually wind up remaining the same depending on how that square footage changes out. So, it still all remains to be seen, but this is kind of more of like how we expect each of those floors to function, in the different scenarios. Hope that helps, Jen.
So as a follow-up, thank you. As Gail mentioned earlier, social media, goes rampant on these things.
Oh, I know. Really? You think? Yeah. Maybe a little bit?
I know. And the buzz is that there's going to be displaced artists. So that's why I asked what the question is.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. We've seen that as well. I mean, I think the thing to remember with this, if the custom scenario were to be something that city council would pursue, then that's a big if at this point, it would be years. It would be, a couple of years for that plan to be developed. And then construction, we would also expect to take a number of years as well. We have a general amount of attrition. Every year we lost a lot of artists who left the Art Center due to COVID. So there's nothing to say that, every artist is going to want to come back to, a newly revamped Art Center. I mean, I think that that's one thing to keep in mind. But the direction from council now is that they wanted to see something different. The action plan proposed these changes, and that's what we're expecting to bring forward. So there's no plans at this point to kick anybody out or anything like that. Really, it's about bringing more artists in is really what we're trying to do.
Great. And I think Pat Miller has a question.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment, and everybody knows me. I always have to comment on art. So this has been years in the making, and I am so excited about it, and I would hope that the DRBA could get behind, particularly the proposal that Diane went into pretty extensively, because it's a way to grow. And I think the factory has been a little bit stagnant, if I can use that, and I don't mean that in a negative way by any means, but I think it's time to move into new arts, you know, kinetic art and stuff along that line, which the factory could do because they have access to amazing artists. So that's my 2 cents. Diane, appreciate you coming. Thanks.
Thanks, Pat.
Hey, Lauren, do we want to make a motion, or do we want to go back to the board and have something presented, or can we go ahead and make a motion now?
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion that DRBA support it's option 2, right?
Yes, the custom program.
The custom program that the city's looking into for the Torpedo Factory as a way to invigorate and make much needed changes to the Torpedo Factory.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can't see me, but I'm in favor. It's Stephanie.
Okay, thanks. I think we got majority there. Okay, great. Thank you, approved, so.
All right, well, thank you so much, everybody. Feel free to reach out any point along the way if you've got questions. Feel free, all the other meetings are public meetings, so feel free to attend. And you know, yeah, we're here to answer questions if you've got them. Thanks for the time.
Great, thanks so much. All right, and now we're going to move on to Anne, and Anne also will be, this is taped today too, so for the restaurant people that aren't here, we'll be sharing this. All right, you are here to speak to us about a few things. I'll just let you go ahead.
Oh, okay, sure. Hi, everybody. Nice to see and hear from you. And I sent out 2 emails to those who have temporary outdoor business permits. And I realize that won't be everyone, because some of you may be operating outdoors in your outdoor sidewalk scenarios, and you'd have SUPs for that. So you may not have received this information, but I did send it to Lauren for distribution. So what was sent last week is first, for those with the temporary outdoor business permits, you are the city council, and I think it was in September, extended these temporary permits until April 1st, 2022. And what falls under this are uses of on-street parking spaces for dining, retail, and fitness. We didn't receive anyone actually who was interested in the fitness, and outdoor dining on sidewalks if you did not have an SUP, and it's also it's outdoor dining, retail, and fitness. And also those 3 same business types could use parking lots, private parking lots, as long as the business could, well, actually the parking requirements were waived, so you could continue to use your parking lots until April 1st also. Now, wanted to pass that along because the original expiration date was January 1st. What we've done in October with the city council was to get approval for continuation of these programs in different ways. So so sidewalk dining along Mount Vernon Ave will still be subject to SUP approval. We'll revert back to that after April 1. The on-street parking spaces, city council approved dining and retail to be able to operate in the on-street parking spaces. I realize that I don't believe there are many along Mount Vernon Ave who avail themselves of that, but perhaps in the future some may. These will be subject to a permit, which the Transportation Environmental Services Department will spearhead. And then the evolution of on-street parking space, dining, or retail would be the construction of a platform that would be flush with the sidewalk. So accessibility is not an issue, and we would have requirements for some sort of railing so that there's visibility for cars. So we will launch that in early, that permit in early 2022, I would say February or March. And for those who might be interested in that. Now, I do know that there are a few businesses, particularly in the restaurant field, who have used their private parking lots in the Delray area. So you may continue to do that as long as you can still satisfy the zoning ordinance parking requirement within that parking lot. So in 2018, we reduced the number of required parking spaces for restaurants. Along Mount Vernon Ave, that would be one parking space for each 1,000 square feet of restaurants. Now, many of the restaurants may have in their SUPs, I was going to say consult your SUPs, but if it was approved before, I think it's October 2018, you will see a higher restaurant parking requirement. But what applies now is the one space for every 1,000 square feet. Now, and here's another calculation to throw in. If you if your requirement ends out to be 2 spaces or less, then that can be waived. So where I'm going with this is applying those guidelines to after April 1, if you can still satisfy your parking requirements, whatever balance of parking spaces that may be available, you can continue to use those for outdoor dining or retail. And I would encourage those of you who are, I'm trying to, and again, I don't think it's too many, but if anyone is using the public right-of-way, a sidewalk, or a on-street parking space, please send us an updated certificate of insurance for use of the public right-of-way. So again, I don't think that's as common in your area, but something to provide for you. Then on Friday, I sent out some what we call winterizing your outdoor business activities. So this is very close, and I'm just zooming in on another computer so I can take a look at it for you all. This is very close to what we distributed last year at the same time. The only change is that the health department, and that's the state health department, doesn't have as many requirements. There are the social distancing requirements. I guess that was primarily the main one. There might have been some others, but that was the main one that everybody was focused on. So as far as health department requirements, those have changed. And then there are some links to those current state guidelines that you would follow as your type of business. The one thing for those, there's several, it's 3 pages. I know that's a lot to pour through, but just to give you an overview, where there's a section on outdoor structures, and that includes tents. So tents that are less than 200 square feet do not require any kind of city permit. If they are multiple 200 square foot tents, to come up with that exceed 200 square feet, then there would be some fire prevention and building permits required. Tents are only supposed to be up or considered temporary structures and to be up 180 days. And after that, the fire department, considering the pandemic situation and the need for the use of outdoor space, has developed a modification form that businesses who had a fire prevention permit, building permit for only 180 days can get an extension. So that you can find out about through the fire marshal's office. And then I wanted to just touch on, there are some guidelines for heating. It's common, the propane, or called LP gas heaters, those, or mushroom heaters, those also require fire prevention permits. If someone, I know many restaurants and retail have already set these up last year. If you did and got a permit, you will need another one because those are only good for 1 year. And then, of course, anybody newly adding them would get a fire prevention permit. Again, it's the fire marshal who you would contact for that. Then there are guidelines for use of electric heaters outdoors. Those do not require any kind of city permit, but there are just several safety guidelines outlined here. So I'm happy to take any questions then on any of this or comments.
Just see if any of our restaurant folks have any questions.
And I just want to say thank you. I don't really have too many questions. It's Stephanie from the Evening Star. Just two quick ones. If we currently, like Vermilion, we're going to reopen Vermilion sometime in the next 6 months. We don't have, our neighbor has been taking advantage of our streetery there. Are we, do we have to, the fact that we didn't use it during the pandemic isn't going to impact our ability to make use of the new kind of expanded rules? Is it same with the Evening Star? We never did any streetery, but we, who knows, we may want to sometime in the future.
Sure. So, and that would be the on-street parking spaces use
Yes.
you're talking about, Stephanie?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, first priority for use would go to the business that's right in front of the parking space. So, it was, kind of you to authorize the other restaurant to use it, but
authorize is a loose word.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. We're fine with it.
Well, but moving on, all those, so first priority for that business, as I said. Secondly, everyone, even if they have and we were calling them commercial parklets, even though they've been using one that was under a temporary program, everyone will need to come forward and adhere to the new commercial parklet guidelines through a separate and new permit. So everyone's setups, temporary setups, would have to come down before April 1, March 31st, so that the new programs can begin as of April 1st with new permit approvals.
Got it. Okay, thank you. That's helpful. So the second question I have is, the Evening Star has put in a pretty expansive we call it the back porch outdoor seating area. I think we still have some parking back there, and we have parking behind the old Bon Vivant building. If our parking is in a different area than it was when we applied for our permit, do we need to actually apply for it in a special use permit? And we still comply, but
not necessarily. And if the zoning ordinance permits commercial businesses to satisfy their parking requirement, if they are located, if the outlet parking at another location is within 1,000 feet of that business. And it has to be on commercial property though, not residential. So if you have the additional supplemental parking is within 1,000 feet, then that is fine. If, and I do want to add this, if there are situations where a business wants to use their all of their required parking, let's say, or a portion of the required parking, they can always come forward to city council and ask for a parking reduction through a special use permit. But
Got it.
what you explained, Stephanie, is correct. You would still comply with your SUP.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate everything y'all done to help us out
Sure.
through this time.
We've got 2 questions. Let's start with Jim Wallace. Or at least.
Nope, sorry, don't have a question. I don't know what I did. I'll just say
Okay,
hi.
you guys have hands raised, which I don't even know how to do that. So, and Jen, do you have a question or is your?
Yeah, I had a real question. Hey, Ann, I never say anything in these meetings. This must be my meeting to get.
Oh, good.
Tell me again what you said about the COI update, because I insure many restaurants in Alexandria. So what did you say about that?
So for those who use the public right-of-way for dining, there is a certificate of insurance form that is, they only have 1 year validity time periods, and it is to hold the city harmless for any kind of accidents that might occur on city property. So we do have that we send out the restaurants and anybody using the public right of way that information.
Okay, so there's nothing out of cycle than we normally do for our customers. When you said updated, I thought you were maybe doing something out of cycle, but no.
Well, you know, this is the thing. We typically don't out of cycle, but this is the temporary programs, because everybody started. Many people started at different times. You know, no, I don't think any of us expected that we'd have the temporary programs in place for 2 years almost. And so it began in May 2020 when people could submit for a temporary program. But then we've had, you know, they've been spread out all throughout. So everybody's on a different schedule for their certificates of insurance. So just ask that all those that might have them take a look to make sure they're still valid.
Any other questions? One question I have is that, you know, I believe you had mentioned a different meeting that the to-go pickup areas signs, you know, have been designated, and it doesn't seem like people are really following. So what's going on with that, and what's the procedure to either remove it or keep it for restaurants?
So yes, so the traffic, and this did not need city council approval, but the traffic and parking board agreed to maintain those curbside pickup areas, and they are loading, they can be loading zones too. So it can be used by you know, restaurant deliveries now, customer pickup of products and services and food. Those will continue. They just may be more strategically placed if that's needed. When they were placed up, it was the end of March 2020, and someone thought, I see a lot of restaurants here, I'll put what, you know, I think this will work here. And so they'll be more strategically placed. If there's an interest of anyone in taking them down, maybe it wasn't a good place, and or an area where someone would like to propose, I would recommend contacting, it's Katie North she's in the Transportation Environmental Services.
Okay, great. All right, Gail.
Yeah, mine, I guess, is more a comment, and I'll step down from the DRBA board and speak as a resident who lives next door to a restaurant and catty corner to a restaurant, and just say how thankful and appreciative as a resident we have been of the city working with the restaurants and our small businesses, and how thankful I am that this is continuing. And wanted to just see if this is going to be automatic. Are you getting any pushback from citizens, or is this, does this need to go through a public hearing, or is this kind of what's going to definitely happen?
Well, it will definitely happen because it did go through the public hearing process already, and that was in October for the, well, and I didn't bring up because it's not relevant here, but people may be interested, the permanent closure of the 100 block to vehicular traffic, that's permanent and voted on by City Council. The commercial parklets are in parking spaces. Also, something, and then Traffic and Parking Board looked at the curbside pickup areas and said, that's fine, that's a public hearing. And the something that I didn't mention, I guess there's is for retail. We form, I know the practice has been often for retailers, some to put out some merchandise while they're open. And that was never formally allowed in the zoning ordinance. So we added that in there, that retailers can do that as long as they keep 5 feet of continuous pedestrian passageway. And so all of that is been finalized. It's in the zoning ordinance or city code, those changes. And we had, and as it went to hearing, we didn't get, I can't say we got anyone that did not support it.
That's great. Thank you.
Oh,
Are the carry out alcohol, is that still good?
so, yes, and that's through the state. And the state just said we can continue that. It's kind of nice, huh? I know, nice for all, yeah.
Great. Yes, you made Gail very happy with that last comment. Yeah, but thank you for being here today and providing us with the updated information. And I have disseminated that all to the restaurants. So
Okay,
we'll reach out with other questions. Okay, thank you.
great. Okay, well, thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Nice to see everybody. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, great. So now we're going to move on to events, go through events quickly and tell you what's going on with the holidays. So how about, I think Pat Miller's going to kick it off with the turkey trot.
Yay, turkey trot. We're back. We're back. This is going to be a great year. We're running a little low on registration, but it's still going to be a very, very good year. And everything is back to normal a little bit, if I can say the new normal. And we do need sponsors yet. And we do need volunteers, particularly with some cleanup in moving some stuff back and around. So both of those you can get on the website, alexandriaturkeytrot.com. So go in and sign up. And also we anticipate some many canned goods for Alive. Alive always looks to this particular function for some great food so they can get that distributed to the people that need it. I think that's about it. Just very quick, because I know we got a bunch to go through, but go in and sign up. We need more volunteers. Thank you.
Great, Pat. All right, super. Gal, you want to talk a little bit about the tree lighting, please?
Yeah, first event is we're going to be decorating the street signs, the poles up and down the avenue. That's on Sunday, November 28th, 1 p.m. at Pat Miller Square. We need volunteers for that, and those are going to be set up in the next few days on the volunteer website. So, but the official tree lighting, menorah lighting is going to be December 5th, and thanks to Bill and Mike from Homegrown Restaurants, Pork Barrel Holy Cow Sushi, they have for the last several years. 1 year when they were moving into Delray, they looked over and they couldn't even see the tree. It was so small. And so they said next year they're going to make sure we have a big tree. So they go out and cut down a 20-some-foot tree every year. So we thank them. We thank Mike Damron from Windmill Hill Design and his crew. They literally spend 2 days. He pulls them off their projects for 2 days. They bring a crane, a forklift, to set up the tree at Pat Miller Square and then to decorate it. Smoot, I believe, is the truck that is going to go get the tree with Bill and stuff. So this is a real community effort for which all of Delray really enjoys, is this beautiful tree we get to have for the season. So the actual tree lighting and the menorah lighting is 6 p.m. December 5th. We'll also be doing thousands of luminaries in memory of Nancy Dunning. We will have a smaller program than normal. We will not have Santa actually on site to sit with kids and get their wishes this year, just to be safe. He may be making a surprise drive-by or something, but we won't mention that. But we will be collecting for Carpenter Shelter, and we'll get that information. We'll continue to share what items they will be collecting. For our honorary countdown of the tree lighting, we are honored to have our retiring sheriff, Dana Lawhorn, and hopefully his family, who will help with the countdown. And volunteers will be needed on the 5th. That Sunday. We'll be starting at 1 p.m. and working till 10 p.m., putting out the thousands of luminaries, getting set up for the tree lighting. And then at 10 p.m., we've got to extinguish all the luminaries and pick them up and dispose of. So look in the next week or two for information on how you can volunteer. It used to be an unbelievable effort by a handful, and these last years it's been like the Christmas miracle, where all of a sudden all these volunteers come out, and it makes such a difference, and it really will get you in the holiday spirit. So that covers those items.
Great, thank you, Gail. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Amy Eggers, who is our retail committee, to talk about Small Business Saturday and Ladies Night Out. Or at least I was going to. Amy. All right, Amy's not going to talk about it. She just told me she was on the call. All right, I'm going to skip that for a second. Gail, you want to text her? She knows all the details, but we can give it to you. I'll go on to tell you about we've got the 6th annual Candy Cane Bar Crawl on Saturday, December 11th from 1 to 6 p.m. Most of you are probably familiar with this, but if not, we have usually about 15 restaurants participating. We have 2 trolleys going up and down the road. There are usually a high turnout for this. People get dressed up, and there's good festive spirit. This year we are raising money for Neighborhood Health. That's our beneficiary. There are sponsorships still open and available, and thank you to those who have already sponsored. We do have a few more, and there's, as always, got some small ticket items too, for like swag bags or just a gift certificate is appreciated also for our raffles. So that is going on. Tickets are $15 ahead of time, $20 at the day of, and that awards you different specials at every restaurant. Let's see if anybody has any questions about that. I'll also cover 12 days of wellness in Delray. So the wellness district, if we have any wellness businesses here, we offer 12 days of tips, specials, promotions, and things that you want to feature. We're going to focus on doing Instagram Reels this time and social media promotion. Okay. All right. And let's go back to Amy, who's here now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Sorry about that, everybody. I hope that you're all well. This is Amy Eggers, and I'm chair of the retail committee for DRBA. And I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of everything that we've got going on to support our retailers. On Saturday, November 27th, we have the Shop Small Crawl, which is on Small Business Saturday. And it also is a tie-in to the Visit Alexandria's Shop Sooner initiative, which is encouraging everybody to get out there and start your shopping earlier than normal due to supply chain issues and to support our retailers as we approach the holidays. This is going to be from 10 to 6 on Saturday, November 27th, and we're going to have giveaways, promos, and we're going to announce more soon things that are in the works for that, since it's sort of a new event for us this year. Then on Thursday, December 9th, which normally we called it Ladies Night Out, but we're making it more inclusive now, and it's the Holiday Sip and Shop on Thursday, December 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. And there will be complimentary wine and refreshments at all of our participating retailers, and lots of giveaways again. Basically, you know, the things that we've all come to know and love about Ladies Night, but now it's the Holiday Sip and Shop. And lastly, on December 11th, which is like the day of everything in Delray for the holiday season, it seems, we're going to have a holiday pop-up market in Pat Miller Square from 2 to 6 p.m. And that's going to be all of our home-based businesses and makers and artists. So we're really excited about these 3 events to help support our retailers and your holiday shopping this year. Thank you.
Great. And I'm going to go over one last thing. And I know this is Jenna, board members. Jenna's her working. So if I miss anything, Jenna, you can step on in here. But we are partnering with the DRCA, the Delray Citizens Association. They do a best decorated house competition, and we're doing a best decorated business competition. So for you guys, it's going to be best business display, best painted windows, and the People's Choice Awards. Now, Pat Miller's done a fine job every year of getting a bunch of artists to do the window paintings. We're kind of known for doing that now. If anyone has not been contacted and wants their windows painted, let us know. That can be part of the competition. But otherwise, we're going to have this information sent out to you. But there is a whole timeline for just entering through December 9th, entering your form submission. And then photos will be taken. And basically prizes are just big bragging rights. But as you could probably understand, we just want to contribute to the festive nature of the season on the avenue. So more decorations, the better. More lights and things of that nature. So look, keep an eye out for that. And Pat, is there anything else you want to say about the window painting?
If anybody has any artists, let me know, because we do need more artists. But if you want your windows painted, just drop me an email. We'll get you on the list, okay? And I'm excited because this year, this is the first year the artists will actually be, you know, there'll be a contest on who can do it the best. So I'm excited about that. And I don't know if we mentioned the scavenger hunt, because we are doing a scavenger hunt that will have an item from the various windows that are painted that everybody has to identify. That will go on through the end of the year. So that will be something getting people walking around in Delray also. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Pat. Yeah, so lots of different ways to be involved. If you guys do your individual businesses, because I know a lot of people do charitable things during the holidays, or they have their own specials. So if you have something going on, make sure you are letting us know by either hashtagging Visit Delray or sending it via messenger on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll make sure we repost that. I'm sure Maureen does a good job of summarizing all the things going on in the area, so we'd love to share that. Any questions on holidays so far? So we have a few minutes left for anybody who would like to make an announcement about their business, anything new or exciting.
I would like to, is Matt still on, Matt Sloan? I want to introduce Matt.
Yes, I'm here. Thanks,
Hi,
Pat.
Matt.
Hi, how are you?
Want you to say a few words, okay? This is one of our new restaurant owners. Took over Charlie, so speak away.
Thank you so much. So I just want to introduce myself. I'm Matt Sloan. I'm opening up a restaurant in the Charlie's on the Avenue space in early 2022. and more to come, but it's going to be a brunch all day spot called Matt and Tony's. And, we're also going to do dinner, but focus on brunch all day and just be a nice, energetic, family-friendly restaurant coming to the neighborhood. So very excited to join Delray and, very excited to open this restaurant.
Great. We're excited to have you.
So I'll be around during the holidays to learn more about the community. So excited about that.
Great. Thanks, Matt.
Of course.
Anybody else here would like to say anything?
And if Allison, are you still on? Allison from Zebra? Mary said to make sure you spoke up on what you needed to talk about. Is she still on? Nope, guess not.
Okay, we've got Brack.
Yeah, we have I just wanted to let y'all know that on the 11th of December, along with everyone else, the library will be hosting a pop-up book sale with children's books from 11 until 1. We're also going to have the Irish Breakfast Band performing, and we're also Vanetta's going to do a outdoor story time. So that will begin at 11, and then the band will begin after 11:30, and it'll be over by 1, well in time for people to make it to Mount Vernon Avenue for the candy cane bar crawl. We'll have some candy canes too.
Great, awesome. Thank you. Gail, would you just say something about next month's luncheon, our special thing?
Sure. We are very excited to announce that next week we will be meeting in person for our annual holiday celebration. And so we're meeting on December 13th at noon. And we're very thankful. Jason Yates from Lena's is going to host us. He is going to open up and let us have the back oasis. So for those who have not ventured out yet, this is a great new place. It's open, and we feel for having our first non-virtual meeting, this would be a great place to have. So we will be doing holiday celebration. Feel free to dress festively, and we will be announcing the Star Awards. And as opposed to Star Wars, it's the Star Awards. And we're accepting nominations for anybody who especially in this last tough year, who has been especially supportive of the Delray businesses. So we have a citizen nominee, we have a city nominee, we have a business nominee, and a youth nominee. So if you know anybody who's been especially supportive of the Delray Business Association and all the various activities we do in the various committees, please, I put my email in the chat. Feel free to email me your nominations, and the board will review them all, and then we will have surprise announcements on the 13th of the winners of these. Also, if anybody needs a list of who's won it in the past, I'm happy to email it to you so you kind of know who's already might have received it and stuff. So, but we are very much looking forward to actually seeing everybody in person. Thanks, Lauren.
Yep. Any other updates? All right, then we'll conclude on time. How unusual, but we thank you everybody for attending, and I hope that if it works out, we'll see you next month at Lena's. It'll be nice to celebrate a little bit, and then we're going to examine going back to in-person meetings in January, depending on what's going on. So,
and there's no fee. There's no fee for everybody's invited.
No fee for December. All right. Everybody have a great day and week and holiday. We'll see you next month. Okay. Take care.